Pokemon Day is later this month, and with Palworld shattering records, the Pokemon Company needs to deliver. And I'm not talking about this garbage where they're promoting the Pokemon World Championships at the start of Pokemon Day with this fraud, especially after what's been happening at the recent regionals. Pokemon Liverpool Regional Championships had cheaters on stream, with Pokemon removed from their teams for being hacked, and then we also had sponsored players with Koi being disqualified for cheating. Play Pokemon is rotten, the Pokemon Company is corrupt, this is not something to celebrate about Pokemon, which is also making Pokemon weaker compared to other games and other esports. Great. Also, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo not even trying to hype up Pokemon at all. We're getting over a month old news where it's like, yeah, get starter Pokemon. Yeah, get the new Paradox Pokemon. Buy the DLC that costs as much as Palworld. If you don't already have the games, then spend 3 times as much. And I've talked about how Pokemon has been dead in the West for years. Like, you just look at the overall engagement with Pokemon in the games, and there's just none because there's no real Pokemon fans anymore. Pokemon players will cry if you ask them to actually play the games, especially as intended, or if you actually need to put in some amount of work to play esports and competitive. They only complain about the games, they hate playing the games, and then the only engagement you see with the Pokemon community is about fake leaks and lies or just ROM hacks and fake content. It's wild. And the Pokemon Company is under more pressure because we are getting near the end of the Nintendo Switch lifespan, so they can't put their big ultimate game project that they've been working on a console that's going to get phased out maybe this year, maybe next year. Also means they're going to be putting more development resources on a more powerful console. That way, all the invalid complaints about Pokemon Sword and Shield there won't be anymore, even though Pokemon fans will only hate Pokemon and always find a way to complain because they are the brattiest, most toxic community in gaming. But after lying so long about a Nintendo Switch 2 announcement next month, it's going to happen soon. And then, yeah, it's going to make it harder for the Pokemon Company to, like, have a plan to stay relevant, especially now when there's extra pressure from Palworld. So I'm going to break down the announcements we need to see at Pokemon Day. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below, and use code Verlisify for 20% off your G Fuel order. You're probably not using it to play Pokemon, but Palworld is still popping off. Still peaking over 1 million concurrent players a day on Steam, and I guess you can use it for other games. Those exist, right? Also, school, work, anything you're going to need an energy drink for. I wouldn't be able to do all of the crazy work that I do without it. Also, they do have a hydration formula, so if you don't drink caffeine, there's also some other bundles and deals going on with that, so check it out. Back to Pokemon Day. Now, this is going to be the same video that I've made for the last couple of years about my Pokemon Day wishlist. We did get open world. So after talking about that for a couple of years, Verlisify always right, but we need Battle Revolution, we need a Pokemon Quest update. This gets you millions of players back into the Pokemon ecosystem. It's already been made for China, just localize it, and then you make tons of noodles of money. The Pokemon Company refuses, and also, we need Let's Go Johto. But the Pokemon Battle Revolution 2 official battle simulator thing gets a little weirder every year because, yeah, we do need an official simulator to combat all the cheating that's going on in Pokemon, but my caveat is, with all the cheaters banned. Like, if Wolf Glick does not receive a lifetime ban for the insane amount of proven cheating he has done, then there's no point of releasing an official simulator. That, okay, the cheaters got away with cheating, they got away with stealing tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, no punishment whatsoever, and then it's like, what's the point of even playing? There's no competitive integrity. There was no action taken that was 100% deserved from the people using hacked Pokemon and breaking the rules throughout their entire career, like Wolf Glick and like everyone else. Cheating just keeps getting worse in Pokemon. Every event has more and more top players getting exposed as cheaters, even though we already knew all of them were cheaters to begin with. After what happened at Pokemon Worlds, like, any person that had Pokemon removed from their team or were disqualified from Pokemon Worlds, 3-year ban minimum. Just stay out of the entire next generation. Let legitimate players be rewarded and actually enjoy the official Pokemon Battle Simulator for being respectful, being honest, and not breaking the rules. Also, any YouTuber that's used a hacked console or makes hacked Pokemon content, permaban them as well. Again, we just need to restart, don't let them weasel in, have a clean slate, and then Pokemon esports can actually be super popular, and then now everyone has an entry like, hey, buy this game, learn Pokemon, participate for tens of thousands of dollars, and then Pokemon is flourishing. I know that's never going to happen, and even though we had so much weird stuff go on. major esport organization sponsored players were disqualified, but they did not receive any bans at this time, despite like the insane amount of negative press. The Pokemon Company will turn off the chat for their stream because everyone in chat is defending cheating instead of actually banning the cheaters. It's insane. But despite all of this negative publicity, no bans have been announced. Way to go, Pokemon Company. Alright, so what about on the more casual side? Because Pokemon Quest, still one of my best performing series on the channel. Every day, or almost every day, people are asking, hey, make more Pokemon Quest videos. It's impossible! Please, use common sense and understand how it's impossible. I've done everything there is to do inside of Pokemon Quest. It is impossible for me to make more content about a game I have completely beaten. Of course I want to make more Pokemon Quest content. Of course I want to bring back Fan Fridays. It's not my fault that the Pokemon Company has made these things impossible. I actually haven't heard or kept up with the Pokemon Quest news since last year, when it's like, oh yeah, also Generation 4. Cool. Arceus is in the game. Also Generation 3 and stuff. Like, we've been tracking this for years. It's also crazy. Like, look at that. December 29th into April 25th. Like, every couple of months, Pokemon Quest was getting an update in China. The Japanese Pokemon YouTube channel is doing, like, Pokemon Quest-style shorts. It's a big brand for them as well. No localization. I don't get it. I will never get it. You immediately bring back hundreds of thousands of concurrent players into Pokemon, and then everyone's excited, and they get to be held over, and then there's also whatever other announcements can be made for Pokemon Day. And that also goes back to, like, this being a weird release, because you can't do this now. You can't say Pokemon Battle Revolution releases this summer or this November, because again, the Nintendo Switch is on the way out. So, oh, we get 1 year, a year and a half of actual, like, Pokemon Battle Simulator, and then it just gets immediately phased out as everyone goes to Nintendo Switch 2. Or you have to be playing, like, the main series on Nintendo Switch 2, and then maybe tournaments, updates somehow on the Wii. It doesn't make any sense. So, like, it also goes back to development resources, that a lot of Game Freak's development resources are going to be for the new console that has more power, that can make better games and sustain them. It's insane how everyone knows and admits that the Nintendo Switch is underpowered. When it came out underpowered, and everyone's like, yeah, but we play Nintendo for the fun, not the graphics. But in the Pokemon community, again, the toxic, bratty, spoiled, entitled Pokemon community that just cannot cope with reality, they're the only ones saying that the Nintendo Switch is more than powerful enough, and it's absolutely insane. Also, we can see a difference between Palworld on Xbox and PC. Yeah, being able to have more computing power on the PC means you can do a lot more with your game and create a lot more complex systems. So we just need Nintendo Switch 2. And that also could make, well, not even could, that does make up for inefficiencies in program, and then still allow the devs to make grander projects. Like, there is an objective limitation on Nintendo Switch, and I'm not going to hold Game Freak and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for being on a console that's 7 years old, that was underpowered when it came out 7 years ago. So as much as I want this, we're not actually going to see it on Pokemon Day, and this would actually be perfect for the first Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch 2, because then everyone gets their wish of Game Freak not rushing games, even though that's a lie. So again, like, Pokemon community is just too deranged to function. There was an announcement that, like, the Pokemon Company is, or not announcement, but like some insider thing was like, Pokemon Company is responding to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet criticism very seriously. It's like, well, that's, like, the worst thing that could happen because of how terrible the Pokemon community is. That would destroy Pokemon, and then Palworld would pick up the pieces 100%. So we'll have to see how that goes, but, like, this is free. You drop this right now, and there's actually a Pokemon game to play, especially with all this content. Like, this would last potentially longer than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or at least the DLC. DLC lasted, like, a week. Maybe. And then they're still trying to be like, hey, go and get your starters and go and get all these other new Pokemon. Even though locking some of the most insane Pokemon ever released by filling out the decks is absolutely not the way to go. So yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. Just let me play Pokemon Quest 2. Then that also brings us to the most likely announcement. Well, not the most likely, because who knows what Game Freak is up to. But Junichi Masuda said in previous interviews that if Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did well, it's definitely possible that there would be a follow-up to the game. And Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did well. It did much better than Pokemon Legends. The deranged Pokemon Legends crowd doesn't realize that there's like 5 times the amount of Nintendo Switches available compared to when Pokemon Let's Go released and then immediately dropped a new generation. Also, same thing for like all the other Pokemon interactions. So like, yeah, Legend sales are incredibly deflated, which is why it was never even listed on the Nintendo top selling units. So yeah, like, that's nothing. Pokemon Let's Go, also just an incredible experience. A lot of people looking back on it because that's how it always is. Everyone hates a new Pokemon game when it comes out. Then a couple years later, they look back on it and go, oh, maybe we were too hard on Let's Go. Maybe we were too hard on Pokemon Sword and Shield. And then the next one's going to be, yeah, but, you know, we did get open world Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We didn't respect this game enough either because, again, it's all hypocrisy. It's all just drama baiting and outrage culture in the Pokemon community. But, like, Pokemon Let's Go. I've also said this a million times, and that's why this video is just a repeat of what I always say. Give me Let's Go Heart Gold Soul Silver. It's the best Pokemon game ever made. I was not bothered by the catching mechanics at all. It actually made the gameplay a lot more interesting. Because, like, with the catch combos and all the other quality of life, like, yeah, you can spam those catches. You can get some good technique down. I guess the only way you can complain about the Pokemon Go style catching is skill issue. But, like, you make all the techniques, you do the double player catches, and then you get all the extra catch bonuses and stuff. That was super hype and made the gameplay a lot more, have a lot more depth than just, oh, I'm either going to one-shot this thing, or I'm going to, like, false swipe it, and then I'm going to quick ball it, and then hopefully that's just enough. Like, catching Pokemon the normal way is not better. Maybe you can say it's about the same kind of experience or depth or whatever, but it's objectively not better than the Pokemon Let's Go style catching. So I mean, like, but fine, because people are weirdos. You have a toggle between it. That's just Game Freak folding to the idiots. I don't care. And then you just have the best thing. Like, just give me Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I liked having no items, no abilities as well. It made the Pokemon battles the most fun I've ever had until Pokemon Sword and Shield came out. Like, this was just good, honest Pokemon where everything was viable because you didn't have, like, a random ability making the Pokemon useless when the other Pokemon gets 30 or 50% more power and then has better synergies with items or something. You know, I was out here running Parasect and having a blast. My Golbat was the carry. Articuno. Articuno isn't viable, but it worked. And then, like, same thing on Reduced Dex. Bring back National Dex Fraudulent. Let's go. So, yeah, like, the entire experience was just the best. Now, I hope Game Freak doesn't mess it up, and they find that magic. Like, you wouldn't expect Game Freak to make this, and you wouldn't expect this to be, like, the best Pokemon game. Or one of the best Pokemon games. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon Let's Go. That is the objective best main series Pokemon game list. Cannot be disputed. And you combine those together, and then you make, like, Tier Z, like, the 0th best Pokemon game off of that. So, like, they can find that magic. Catch combos coming out of nowhere, not returning. If they just, I don't know. See, that's like, I mean, it's like, you can only hit perfection once like this, and I don't think you can replicate it. And then the problem is, once the subject knows it's being observed, it behaves differently. So that's my biggest issue with, like, a potential Pokemon Let's Go remake, is that, like, oh, like, somehow they mess up catch combos. There was also the videos I did where, like, the data mine showed catch combos giving you better catch rewards, and then a lot of potential update content. So just do that. Just do whatever Pokemon Let's Go didn't get DLC for, and then make that Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Let me build out my Safari Zone and have, like, all this kind of crazy customization, and then let me, like, yeah, just give me the perfect Pokemon game, and you already have all the pieces. So, like, that's the announcement we need. That perfectly sends off the Nintendo Switch into the Nintendo Switch 2. That means we don't have, like, we have a non-committal main series game to finish off, because what people didn't like about Let's Go, which was completely invalid, was like, oh, we didn't start our first Nintendo Switch game, our first console Pokemon main series game as a new generation. It's like people just hated it for no reason off of that. But that'd be funny. Actually, it'd be poetic if we begin and end kind of the same. Masuda was the director for Pokemon Let's Go, and he was the director for Brilliant Diamond Shine Pearl. So, like, this just being the ultimate Ilka passion project would also be huge. So Masuda doing everything right by the games, giving us just, like, the greatest Pokemon experience to get ready for the next greatest experience on the Nintendo Switch 2, has to happen. If it doesn't happen, Pokemon's in trouble. Like, you have to go Pokemon Let's Go. You can't go Pokemon Legends Johto. That would you can't take the most beloved region and then absolutely destroy it like you did with Sinnoh. Especially with, like, all the garbage and mechanics and, like, nothing that makes sense anymore. And, like, there's even more lore in Johto. Sinnoh has the folklore. But I mean, like, there's a lot of history in Johto that is very easy to screw up, that is already established, that would get screwed up just like what happened with Pokemon Legends Arceus. Also, making Johto open world doesn't feel as great. Like, just why go against what everyone loved here with Pokemon Let's Go in just a wonderful Pokemon experience? But yeah, if that doesn't happen, Palworld gets updates. Palworld goes from early access into a full launch, gets even more updates, gets even more pals, and then becomes like a generational thing. And now the Pokemon Company is like in severe trouble. And then everyone's just going to hate the next games anyways, and then who knows what happens. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's my yearly Pokemon day. We need an official simulator. We need Pokemon Quest 2. We need Let's Go Johto. Everything is still horrible for the Pokemon community and company. And then, who knows? Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.